Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do.
Excellent. All right, so here we are. This is Scott's Case Files stream channel, and you're watching our session 0 of our Urban Shadows Welcome to Midian. Right now, unfortunately, we only have 2 of my 4 crew. Killing me dead. Right now, on right over here, you have Aaron, an old friend of mine. We go way back. And over here we have Steve, a buddy of mine. We don't go as far back, but still a good buddy of mine. In fact, the two just met each other right now.
Right on.
Woohoo!
We're new.
You're new. So here we are. We're going to get started. So basically, Urban Shadows is a game of urban horror where the characters play parts of people who kind of get into the drama, the politics, the danger, everything that's involved with the supernatural plus an urban type setting. New Midian is basically this city where through the ages um, the supernatural have congregated. Basically, they become they're. I'll be basically be putting a I'll be putting a document out that tells all about New Midian. But basically, through the years, they more and more refugee, supernatural, and other people have been coming to New Midian to settle, and so it's kind of a melting pot of the supernatural community. So the first thing I want to do is figure out what playbooks we're going to play. So let's bring it over. I'm actually going to start bringing up playbooks. First of all, do you guys have any favorites or anything you guys were looking for? I'm going to go over all the playbooks, but figure out, get an idea what you guys are interested in.
The three that I was thinking about were the Hunter, the Mage or Wizard, and the Tainted.
Cool. So playbooks, as I actually did mention, are basically the Powered by the Apocalypse games versions of classes, if you will. If you replace, yeah, and if you're a Dungeons and Dragons fan, a class is this thing where the character has this commonality with others who are also of that class, but there are offshoots where you can pick and choose and make yourself a bit different. So that's basically what playbooks are. They give you a set of moves or kind of powers, abilities, skills, in addition to the basic moves that everyone gets. So they kind of game changers. They make each playbook special in its own way. So, Steve, what about you, buddy? What are you thinking about?
Um, I was thinking Vessel or Immortal.
Oh, wow, you're going for the advanced ones right off, huh?
Well, none of those are ones that I've had a chance to play before.
That's
Played a
cool.
number of times, but nothing from Dark Streets and nothing with like the current incarnation of the, Immortal Dragon. Um, although the Immortal was never out before, but the Dragon was
Gotcha.
a long time ago.
Cool. And in anticipation of that choice, I've studied up on the Immortal and the Vessel, and also the Dragon. I know Zach had shown immediate interest in the concept of being able to play a quote unquote dragon in the game. But then again, who wouldn't, right? Cool. So let's go down. I'm going to basically go down the playbooks. Um, let's see here. We're going to start off with the Aware. The Aware is basically um, the person who is not a supernatural being but knows of the supernatural world and is like an investigator. This is like the Scooby Gang of urban shadows. They find things out. They can kind of get in and out of trouble a little easier than others. That kind of thing. Um, let's see here. There we go. Yeah. All right. So they kind of get in and out of things a little easier, and it's like I said, they're not quite the watchers, if you will, but they participate in the politics of the supernatural world just like everybody else. Let's see here. Next is the Hunter. These are mortality playbooks. There are several 4 factions. We're starting with mortality. But we have
Has
the
anybody
Hunter
ever played one of the Aware before?
in not in a game I played, but
Yeah.
how about you,
Uh,
Steve?
oh, we lost a mic, I think.
Oops, you still there, buddy?
There we go.
Ah, there
Yeah,
we go.
I've seen Aware a couple times.
Okay.
Cool.
it's like any other playbook. You see all of them at one point or another.
Yeah. Okay.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Yeah. So let's go to the hunter. Hunter is exactly what you think it is. It's a guy or gal who, or whatever, anything, a human being who hunts various supernaturals. Basically, the kind of the intrinsic part of this is that theoretically they're hunting supernaturals to protect mortality, other mortals and people who don't know anything about it, that kind of thing. So they have some good, cool weapons. They have the ability to kind of more efficiently hunt and handle themselves while they're hunting and that kind of good stuff. So neat class. The next, Scholar. The Scholar is kind of like the cowardly thing collector, a power broker. Power in this game is politics, it's debts, it's also magic items. And this guy deals in magic items. He can get them, he trades them with an arcane network that he has that other classes don't, or other playbooks rather. And he's a wheeler and a dealer in power. Again, this is a very interesting character. Let's see. Next, we have the Veteran. So this is very much like the Whistler from Blade. He used to be a badass back in the day when he was a hunter, or at least in some way involved with engaging in the supernatural. But he just got too old, too broken, too hurt, and kind of got out of the game. So he's like this is like the has-been hunter, or the has-been aware, that kind of thing. So they don't have the abilities they used to, but they still wield some influence in that they know a lot of people. They've been around for so long. They've done business within the supernatural communities for so long. They're part of it. Then they had that going for them. So that's another interesting character. I like that. All right, and with that, we'll go into the Knight group. Let's see. We'll start with the Spectre. So the Spectre is a ghost, wraith, someone who is passed beyond the veil, but hasn't quite gone to that next plane or oblivion or whatever happens after that. It is a very interesting class. I keep saying class. It's a playbook. It's a playbook. It's an interesting playbook in the sense that it's one of them that they can go anywhere, and they can go anywhere and not be seen. We can work things in the fiction like, do I sense a ghost? Do I sense a presence? That type of thing. But generally speaking, if they don't want to be seen or sensed, they aren't. However, they can suddenly make themselves sensible, interactable with the real world and whatnot. So it's a very interesting type of character in that they get to see so much. They can see anything they want. They're the ultimate voyeurs. Their corruption move, and we'll get onto what that is soon, is that when you witness a scene of victimization and do nothing, mark corruption. So it's like every time you mark a point of corruption, you're giving a little bit into the darkness that's within you that kind of gives you the strength to really deal with all this supernatural stuff. So we'll get into that. Let's see. So the Spectre, the Vamp. Now the Vamp is just what you think it is. It's a vampire. But this game, in addition to kind of they do drink blood or drain essence or whatever, if you will, off their victim, or eat flesh. The Vamp is a creature of ultimate codependence. They have the Vamp's Web as one of their kind of signature abilities. And basically, if you interact with them in a threatening manner, you're in the web, and you automatically owe them a debt. So it's very, just interacting with them, you're interacting with this powerful character who now has immediate hold over you. So it's kind of cool. Let's see. We also have the Wolf, which is also exactly what you think it is. Now this game it doesn't concentrate so much on their wolf form, though it's there. You build towards being able to potentially change at will, but in the beginning it focuses on the territory, a wolf's territory. This is the most important thing to them. So like basically you start off with a piece of territory that's your own. In this case, I think a city block or two, and it affects your game. It affects your goals. It affects what you're doing. Things can happen in your territory, and you got to take care of them. That's what you do with your territory. So very interesting character there too, and very powerful as it changes form, of course, and that kind of thing, and very powerful with its pack. Let's see. All right, so that's the Knight faction. Let's go to power. We'll start with the Hallowed, which is, and I find a very interesting type of character. So this is, for all intents and purposes, this is a cult leader. His power is leading a group of people who believe that he kind of has the answers. He has the power. So there's a lot of ritual and magic that goes around him and his group. And it's just very interesting how he interacts with this flock, how he can get them to do things, and how misusing them slowly corrupts him to the point where he could eventually lose them and they become their own entity.
Does he get a revolving flock so he can like send people off to their death? And...
Well, that's all about the fiction. If the fiction, you do a recruiting drive, you can definitely recoup your losses and that kind of thing. That's all.
You to go do this for me.
and depending on how you make your move, they might.
Well, and there are elements. One of their moves allows you to get a better chance of success if they like harm them, lose a limb or a life, of one of your flock.
Right, if you're willing to pay the price, get more power. But with more power comes more corruption. More corruption becomes more power, and then you get that Yoda thing, I forget how that saying goes. Yeah. By the way, yes, please feel free to pipe up with any questions, any comments on this, please. I like this, let's make this interactive, by all means.
Sure.
Excellent. So next is the Oracle. Your Oracle is basically your psychic, your seer. The Oracle can, sense people's thoughts. They can see the future. They can predict the future and kind of steer it. Either knowing what's going to happen and trying to steer away from it, or trying to steer someone towards it, that kind of thing. But they're your kind of your pretty standard psychic with all the things that come with that you might expect. Neat character. Now we have the Immortal. Interesting character. Immortal is an immortal person. They've been around for a very, very long time, and they've been cursed or blessed or what have you with the lacking the ability to die. If they die, they will come back. There is theoretically a way that they can be killed. Huh. So their whole thing, if you will, is they've been around so long. They've manipulated the city's politics so much. They have all these plots and schemes that others can't even imagine stringing together or running. So they have plots and schemes that they see to and can advance that give them other abilities, other powers, and that kind of thing.
So, didn't you say that this game is kind of built to be like short-lived characters?
Generally speaking, I mean, you're depending on how you use corruption, you can go decently quickly. And there's like advances, like when you make a level, quote unquote, you can potentially take back a level of corruption, that kind of thing. But corruption, this is kind of interesting, and I suppose this is a good time to bring it up. So what, I can't remember where I read it, but someone just made the most perfect point, that Urban Shadows does what White Wolf was trying to do all along with like Vampire and stuff. So with this, you have corruption, and everybody has corruption moves. You basically you can spend corruption to do, to kind of do things better, or they might be a corruption might be a punishment, like you miss a roll or something like that, and that's your punishment is, kind of give it a little tiny step closer into that dark side. Or if everyone has a corruption move, something that gives them corruption automatically if they do this. For example, the Immortals is when you make use of someone as an unwitting or unwilling pawn in your schemes, mark corruption. So for every 5, you get a corruption move. And here's the part where this is what White Wolf was trying to accomplish but didn't. that this game does. So your corruption moves are actually really freaking powerful. You as you get more power. They're very potent abilities, and you can only get them by earning corruption. And they mostly require you to spend corruption points to use them. So it's like this point where it's like, you have this person who is interested in getting power. They get that first corruption move, and it's wonderful. It makes them this much more palatable, not palatable, palpable, and powerful. And but at the same time, they're slowly surely giving in to the darkness that's eventually going to cause them to be basically become an NPC in this game. They're going to be what's called the threat, and we'll get to that later also. But yeah, so basically, as you get corruption upon corruption upon corruption, you get more powerful, and this is what leads to your downfall. So it's really cool how they did that, because again, this game addresses the idea that, you're working up to this powerful character, but with power comes this darkness. You have to give into the darkness to get more powerful. So very neat, pretty neat.
I find that a unique twist for the Immortal, because it also kind of means it's the end of his days. Like, right? There is a limited amount of time left for him or her.
Right. And this is a matter of what are you willing to abuse to get what you want, basically. All right, so let's go to the Wizard. Aaron, you played this one at the con I ran at.
Yep.
Had a good time? Yeah? Liked it?
Yeah, I found it very cool, because it was so easy to pick, like, some different unique things about him,
Yeah, and I think they feel powerful, right off. Like, again, these other classes are also powerful, but it's kind of cool to see, I really feel like a wizard. I have my sanctum, I have my little focus item that gives me a special ability. I'm picking these spells, I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
So, very neat. So, a wizard kind of speaks for itself. Let's see here. Let's go to the Wild faction. Let's see, I'm gonna back here. All right, so the Wild, the dragon. So the dragon is a dragon. So basically, here generations and generations and generations ago, there were real dragons, and this group called the Ordo Draconis slayed them. But dragons were so powerful that every generation, about 5 of them, exactly 5 of them out of the 6 are reborn. Or 7 actually, including yourself. So only so many are reborn per generation, and basically they're these dragon souls in a person. So this person is like, their whole life they felt like they were special, like they were different, like they had this neat power inside them, this ability. And sure as heck, they are special. They are amazing. They have this dragon soul in them, and as it manifests, they do get power. They also are. It's kind of a very limiting. With the power comes some limitations. Like a lot of the roleplay in the dragon, you for one, it's like the Order Draconis is eventually going to find out about you, and they're hunting your people to this day, and they're going to find you, and they're going to try to snuff you out. 2, your brood, which is the other dragon souls. Your kind of goal is to like find them. They're your ultimate allies or enemies. So you need to find them. So, and the third is these dragons are, think of Smog. They existed to, be demigods over humans and to hoard this large hoard of treasure type of thing. And that's another thing. So dragons are constantly on lookout for, this little thing that tickles their fancy that they have to get, this bauble, etc., this shiny. So it's limiting in that sense.
They're like the top of the 1%. Basically,
kind of, but right now they in their present form they have to kind of work their way up to any degree of power. So it's kind of a cool rebuild, if you will. So the next group is the Fae, and these are fairies, fairy folk, etc., what have you. They are all about deals. Just like you would expect from folklore, making the deal with the leprechaun and that kind of good stuff. Darby O'Gill, one of my personal faves. So So the Fae, their big thing is deals. They can make deals. They can more efficiently break deals. They can hold you to deals. They can make you make a deal whether you wanted to or not. That kind of thing. And they also have fairy powers, which are decently powerful on their own. But just to use them, they have to give up something. They have to give debts and whatnot to their sovereign in the area, that kind of thing, that grants them that little bit of extra fairy boost to make that power come into being. So, interesting character. The next is the Revenant, which is exactly the Crow. It's the Crow. It says it's Revenant, but it's the Crow. And everyone knows it, and that's fine. So the Crow is, yeah, you've been murdered, you're going to come back to try to avenge things. This is an interesting character in the sense that for your corruption moves, you do get more powerful, but you also get more like evil. So, for example, you have an ability called Figure Someone Out. It's a move. So when you're trying to get, when you're trying to figure someone out, when you're trying to get an idea of what's in their head, what they're thinking, you'll trigger this move. Well, as a Revenant gets a corruption advance that includes this, they have to cross out that move. They can no longer get information from someone or get an idea what's in their head by just sweet talking them or whatnot. They have to then use dig for answers, which replaces it, which means when you hurt someone to get information, make your roll. So you lose this ability to be subtle and kind and compassionate and gentle, and you're pushed faster towards that doom. So this is kind of, I like to think of this as like a burn hot, burn out fast type of character. They lose their subtlety quickly as they start getting corruption, and it's just a downhill slide from there. But that's what it's supposed to be. That's what the Crow was. It wasn't meant to be there forever.
Sure.
Let's see. So that's the Revenant. The Tainted. The Tainted is a person who sold their soul to a demon for some benefit. I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted money. I wanted this person. Whatever. They sold their soul, and now they owe it. Now they owe the demon who took their soul. They owe them work, basically. The demon puts them to work. They have to collect souls, collect debts. What do you call it? Let's see, collecting souls, tracking down rogue demons, delivering threats and messages, guarding someone or something, assassinating your patron's enemies, brokering demonic contracts, hiding demonic contraband. These are all jobs that your demon can give you, and you choose which ones you are most interested in as a player. So very interesting. And of course, you can take demonic form, which is pretty cool, and pretty dangerous, but interesting class. And yeah, it's just neat how they kind of work this in there. I like that. All right, so the Vessel is our last playbook. And this is what Steve was talking about. So the Vessel is Frankenstein's monster. It's the golem, the Kabbalist creation made of clay or what have you. And the Vessel is unique in that instead of corruption, it has redemption. So basically, in the short version of the story is that whereas other characters are kind of slowly going towards their doom, the Vessel is slowly working their way to becoming a real boy, like Pinocchio, that kind of thing. So it's very interesting in how it's moving in that direction. The sacrifice is that it has what's called instincts. Whoever made you for specific reasons. You just don't make an automaton to give life, unless you're Frankenstein. That kind of thing. But so basically you have these instincts. You want to serve the powerful or protect the valuable or hurt the disloyal or pleasure the worthy or entertain the masses. These are your instincts. And when you are given the opportunity to indulge in those instincts, but want to not do it, when you want to fight back against your programming, if you will, then you have to make some rolls. So very interesting. Again, you're this programmed automaton who has found that maybe, just maybe, they can break away and become their own being and become real. So very cool. All right. Back here. So yeah, so that's so those are the playbooks we'd be working with. So since you guys are the only ones that are here, you get to choose. What are you guys thinking?
I think I'm gonna go simple on this one and go with the hunter.
Nice,
Yep. Later on, I can toy with that other stuff.
nice. I'm gonna
Ooh, look at that! I see a hunter.
yes, and you should actually see it in on the right side. If you go to if you you have that right side where on the of the screen where you have like your various icons up at the top where you'll make your dice rolls
Yep.
and everything. If you go to the third icon there, you
Yep.
should see all the playbooks listed.
Okay. Well, I see one under mortality. Oh yeah. Okay. Wait a
So,
minute. All I see is playbooks, mortality, hunter 1.
oh, okay. So it looks like I have to share them with you guys individually. I'll do that. I'll share just what you have for now, and then I will give you the others. But also, this is just for reference. But you'll actually, I'm going to make characters for you, and you can do. You'll that's where your character sheets will be coming from, and you'll be actually be creating a character within those sheets. So, Steve, what about you, buddy?
I'm still deciding between Vessel and Immortal.
Okay, you want to give it some thought? I'll work on Aaron here.
I'm gonna give a little bit of thought while you get the sheets and stuff together.
Cool. And yeah, so I mean, pipe up whenever you feel like it. Good. In the meantime, I'm gonna start sharing all these items.
Well, that's what I need. Okay.
And I can actually do a bunch of this later, but we'll do it now just to get through it.
Oh, shit.
Everyone.
I would like the silenced shotgun, please.
Sure. Well, we saw that it wasn't that in No Country for Good Men.
No Country for Old Men.
For Old Men, wasn't that a silenced shotgun for all intents and
Oh,
purposes?
I'm gonna have to watch that again. I have no idea. I watched it once.
Let's see. All right, so I've shared all of Mortality with you. Now, do you also see the Night, Power, and Wild, or has that not appeared yet?
Hold on. I see Aware 1, Aware 2, Scholar 1, Scholar 2, and Veteran 1.
And you see Hunter also? Still?
And I see Hunter 1 and Hunter 2.
Okay, good. Okay, so those are shared. Let's see here. Sorry. All right. Cool. All right, well, let's start with your character sheet. So, I'm going to let's see. Edit. What's your hunter's name?
Oh, let's call her Jessica.
Ooh, excellent. Jessica it is. Does she have a last name?
There is no last name to pick from.
Oh, well, you can make you're all right, on the character sheets or whatever. You're always able to just choose your own. It's not a big
Okay.
deal. So, what would you like Jessica's last name to be?
Now I gotta change to something else because all I can think of is Jessica Jones.
An homage, if you will.
How about Eugene Banks?
Oh, you want Eugene Banks?
Yep, Eugene Banks.
Okay, cool. All right, you should now see Eugene Banks. And hey, Dr. Arculari, aka Bob.
Where do I see
he's in chat. You're not seeing him. That's fine.
No, not that. Where should I see my name pop up?
Oh, up on the top there. And actually, let's see here. I have to give you access to him. Give me just 1 second.
Kill Scholar 2.
Let's see. Okay, now you should see him and see
Yep.
Eugene and be able to open him up. No pun intended.
Bio and info, character sheet, attributes and abilities.
Yep. So bring up character sheet.
Okay.
And let's put your guy in here, Eugene Banks. All right, so we're going to do Hunter. So I'm just going to select that checkbox and then lock it. You should see everything kind of disappear, the other classes, leaving only the Hunter.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So from here, it's just a matter of filling things out, kind of using this and the Hunter sheet.
Okay.
So
the Hunter 1 sheet.
Yeah, so let's see. I'm going to... There you go.
Okay, I've got Eugene. I've got the Hunter 1.
Yep, and the Hunter between Hunter 1 and Hunter 2 will be filling this out. Pretty.
Okay.
It's once you have the sheet, you're pretty good to go. So let's see here.
Look.
Yeah.
And I decided on Vessel.
Vessel, awesome. Let me get that shared with you right quick.
Mail.
All right, there you go, Steve. You should have it now. And
I have those 2 sheets shared, but not a character. Or the playbook itself.
What's that?
Did you say you shared the character or just the playbook?
I shared the playbooks, the Vessel playbooks. Oh, that's better. Do you actually see them?
I do.
Okay, cool. And I haven't made your character sheet yet, so hold tight. Just gonna keep that there. And let's see.
Shoot.
All right, add character.
Let's see if I can get back into it. Eugene. Character sheet.
Steve, what's your vessel's name?
2.
Let's see.
Meters.
Where were the last 2 Midians?
Friendly.
The last one was in Poland, and before that, let's see. I want to say, oh gosh, first one was in Iraq, the area of Iraq. The second one was, I have to look it up. I can't believe I can't remember on source material.
Character stats.
I don't recall. I'll have to try to remember that.
0, 1, -1.
I will look it up later. Oops. Hey, CBR. How's it going? Yeah, this is our session 0 of a brand new campaign. Welcome to New Midian. And congratulations on your session 0, by the way. Good to see you.
All right, so I've got stats filled out. I've got a look, a demeanor.
Nice.
What else we got here?
Romania.
How do I get
Class moves.
that's the
What were you saying there, Steve, buddy?
Romania was the
Oh, Romania. There you go.
previous.
I should remember that one.
improvements.
Let me see. How's it?
Huh. Where that keeps disappearing to.
Okay, and your member of mortality. I'm just going to fill that in.
Options. 0, -1.
So, Steve, the Roll20 has has named your character by default Tewiag Ulap. So you can keep that. Or go for something else.
I mean, that's compelling, but
Yes, it is.
I think I'm going to go with the first name on the list, which is Adrian, which is actually probably Croatian spelling, but that's close enough to Romanian for me.
Cool. So Adrian,
I apologize to anyone
Adrianne.
who I just offended with that, Eastern European,
you're
conglomeration thing.
you're probably fine. Is that Adrianne?
Adrijan.
Jan. Okay.
It's more of a yan as opposed to an an at the end.
Adrian. All right. Save changes. All right, you should see it now. Go to it. I believe I shared Vessel, so you should be seeing that.
And he actually won't have a last name because
Why would you? Yeah.
Because he was a creation.
Exactamundo. Cool.
And I'm doing, I actually did play I started out as a golem in a previous game, but he ended up going angel at one point. So I'm definitely looking to play this differently than the last time.
Cool. And so, all right, you got it. Cool. CBR. Yeah, this is not D&D Pathfinder. This is powered by the Apocalypse. So the first game in the whole thing that set this whole thing off was Apocalypse World. And the kind of cool thing about this is, this game created the system, and the guy who wrote it, Vincent Barker, maybe? I'm a little off on the names. But anyway, Vincent Baker? Sorry.
Yep.
No, Vincent Baker. He did something amazing, and he made this basically, what's the word for open? It's open source. Help me out here. Creative Commons. He put it in the Creative Commons. So basically, anybody can use his stuff in terms of the system and create their own games. So there's just a huge number of games out there that have been spawned off of his system, which are really amazing. It's really a change in paradigm from what you're used to in D&D and Pathfinder, etc. This is more narrative, more, the players are helping more to create the world. Any kind of conflict, be that verbal, physical, or otherwise, are handled far faster. One of the things I've told these guys, and I've said many times before, I've been in those games and those systems which are great, except, suddenly you're in a combat and in quote unquote, game in the game time, it takes all of 15 seconds, but in real life time, it took 3.5 hours to make that conflict come to fruition, or it's combat of 3 against 3, and this is done in just minutes or less. And it's I just like how fast it moves, how it keeps towards story, it pushes you back towards story. It's trying to make more drama, more connection between characters and NPCs, etc. So really very cool system. Highly recommend it. This one is called Urban Shadows, if that isn't already evident. All right, let's take a look. I'm gonna space things out here so we can look at Eugene and Adrian. Is it what gender-ish would you say Adrian is? Steve?
Pattern off a male. I don't know if how accurate they were, but we'll see.
Sounds good. Cool. Excellent. So while you guys do another thing, interrupt me when you need to. I'm just going to go over things for our viewers. So I'm going to look at Adrian's thing here. So you have your class or playbook. In this case, we have our hunter and our vessel. Again, if you look at the sheets, and I'll kind of flash those later again, it's very character generation. Just the basics of the stats and everything is very simple. circle this, circle that. The looks, there's like, various looks, and you circle one. Boom, you're on to the next. Demeanor. You're automatically a member of a specific faction based on what your playbook is. Eugene is a member of Mortality. Adrian is a member of Wild. The factions. I should probably explain that. So the factions are what helps bring the politics to the game. These are competing factions. These are factions at war with each other, at alliances with each other, or both at the same time. Say Mortality. These are all the people. Everyone that belongs to this that doesn't have a supernatural ability from the get-go. Again, you're aware. Your hunters, your scholars, your veterans. You and me are of the Mortality faction. You have the Night faction. Those who are kind of I'm not sure what binds them really, but they're the classics: the Spectre, the Vampire, the Werewolf. You have your Power. These are mortals-ish who have abilities of magic in nature, but they're all in all they're more or less kind of sort of human. Just have a power beyond the mortal scheme, if you will. The Wild are like one of the things they use to describe like the Fae, for example, is you're not from around here. So the Wild are different. They don't necessarily understand our culture. One of the things they use like with the Tainted is like they're used to making deals by like cutting out the tongue of your little toady you brought with you and offering it as a gift before you start negotiations, not having any clue that is maybe not how it's done, that type of thing. So they try the Wild, though they again for the most part they get our world. They aren't of it. They're different enough. They've experienced enough where the way everything is just not. They don't get it. They don't get it. So these factions fight against each other and again ally with each other both at the same time. Backstab each other, what have you, all the good stuff. So that's the faction. You have your stats. So you have blood. You notice you only have 1, 2, 3, 4 stats. That's it. You have blood. This is all the physical stuff. Unleashing, which is combat. Escaping, which is escaping. Your heart. This is like how personable you are, how charismatic, how quick on your feet you are in a social type situation. This is mostly social, so that's heart. Mind is mind. You're how to figure things out, mislead, distract, or trick people. How like witty you are. Spirit is both like kind of like a mental stamina, willpower, and also a connection with the supernatural. How these things mesh together. So that's it. And as for dice, there are only 2 dice in the whole game. 2d6, 2 6-sided dice. And you basically, when you are going to make a move, when you've triggered a move and you're going to make one, you roll your 2d6 and you add the applicable stat, and there's your outcome. 1 to 6 is a failure, or I can't call it a failure. It is a miss. Miss is not a failure necessarily. 6 to 9 is a kind of a partial success. You did succeed, however. And then you have your 10 plus, which is a complete success and gives various benefits with that. So there's that. Then you have moves. So there aren't many moves in this game. In fact, let's see here. Bring up the moves over here. I don't want that one. All right, here we go. So there are also, in addition to having just 4 whole stats, there are just a few moves in the basic category that everyone has. You have Unleash. This is attacking somebody, wanting to cause them harm, escaping, getting out of there, persuading. In this case, persuading NPCs. Figure someone out. Again, kind of looking somebody over, trying to get an idea what's in their head, asking, you get to ask questions about what their motivations are and stuff from the list you see here. Right there, in fact. Here. All right. Mislead, distract, or trick. So just what it says. So this is being stealthy. This is tricking people. This is pulling a quick one on them. This is distracting from a different thing happening. All with the same basic move. Keep your cool is your all kind of it's kind of a catch-all. Are you able to keep calm and do what you need to do under pressure? But it's very useful as like a go-to move if other things don't quite apply. Let it out is basically there's this corruption in you as we've gone over, and as we also gone over, you get more powerful the more you allow it to creep into your world. So basically, this is letting it out. This gives you a the ability to kind of do those supernatural things that are within your wheelhouse and your playbook, but aren't specifically moves. Like for example, the werewolf. One of the examples they use in the book is like the werewolf pulling a car door off of a car. Technically, that's not a move, or it's not one of his moves as a wolf. But this is definitely you're extending your senses or abilities. You're frightening and impressing opposition, that kind of stuff. This is also like the aware, not the aware, the oracle would be using this one to maybe try to foretell the future on the spot, that kind of stuff. And then lend a hand, get in the way. This is interaction between PCs specifically. Let's see here. Oh, yes, CBR. Yeah, I didn't realize they're making an RPG based on Bright, which is, and you know what? On Netflix, I hear it get a bad rap, but I actually liked it, even though it was one long running gunfight. I like the cultural aspects that it kind of talk about. Bright, the movie with Will Smith, where he's the cop in the world where there have always been orcs and like evil magic and stuff.
That's a good description. It is one long gunfight.
Sprawl, or not Sprawl. Shadowrun.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Shadowrun ripoff, yes. But the cool thing is they actually the way they do it is like there was always this magic in the world, so there were always elves and orcs in our entire history, and it was just really cool how it kind of brought those cultural aspects into the game. The new minority is the orc, that kind of thing. It's just very cool. If you haven't seen it, see it. But yes, Shadowrun-ish. Without the cyberpunk. It was definitely not cyberpunk in any way.
No. Although there was some future tech in there.
Yeah, but there's a...
It was it didn't have the punk aspect.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. All right, let's see. Okay, so going over basic moves, there's also faction moves. These are moves that interact with the factions. This is a game of... You don't just like try to call someone on the phone or put something on an internet chat board. If you want something, if you want to talk to somebody, if you want to get information, you've got to get out there and involved. And this is one of the ways the games kind of brings you together, causes friction and alliances and fights and backstabbing and all the good stuff. Kind of keeps it then. So basically all the stuff you can do to interact with people, hit the streets, which is trying to get something. Put a face to a name, you can get an idea of who this person you're seeing, what their name is, what their reputation is, or a face based on the reputation, that kind of thing. Investigate a place of power is basically, this is kind of, again, I've used this as like the kind of catch-all investigation type role. Generally, when you're going to be investigating some place, it's going to be some place that's important to another faction. So that's what the big thing here is.
And most importantly, how you advance. You actually have to mark all the factions.
Exactly. So yeah, to get an advance, to get like to go up a level, if you will, and get a new benefit, you have to mark faction in all 4 factions: mortality, night, power, and wild. And once you do that, boom, you get an advance, you get a new thing. And that you do, and again, as it says below here, advancement. When you make a faction move, so any of those, hit the streets, put face to a name, investigate place of power. When you trigger an intimacy move, we'll get into that. Cash in a debt or honor a debt. So we'll get into debts too. The debt, there's debts are what makes this world go round. You owe somebody something, and somebody owes you. and that gives you leverage. That gets you the ability to get things from other people, and it's very important to this game. This game could not exist without the debt system. And then there's debt moves. What can you get from a PC or an NPC by cashing in a debt that they owe you, that kind of thing, or are you able to weasel out of it, that kind of thing. So very neat. Let's see here. And I'm just going to go just quick over the other. There's other kind of moves here. So you have a session intro and a session end move. Yeah, definitely. Lord of the Rings meets urban fantasy is a good description of right to CBR. So your session intro is meant to create story. So here's one of the, again, for those who haven't played this, the Powered by the Apocalypse system before, this game is all about, you'll hear it again and again, playing to find out what happens. So it's like, in my planning for this, I'm going to do planning sessions. I already did my first one, kind of, sort of. But in my planning, I'm not going to do what you do when you're planning a D&D session or a Pathfinder. I'm not going to say, okay, so in this adventure, these characters are going to go here, and they're going to need to do this. They're going to visit this person. They're going to meet this person. They're going to kill this person. They got to get here. You got to do A to B to C to D, and maybe there's some branching off there. But generally speaking, you're planning for all this. And what this game is all about is it's about letting things take their course. Certainly, I'm going to add in, throw something in off the cuff that wasn't there before here and there to make things happen. But generally, I'm just going to let this world evolve itself. As you get into things, as debts go back and forth, as one character tries to get their, goals met, or hurt someone or do something or get something that affects this character or this NPC, which affects, it's this huge web of stuff. And basically what you do is you end up with a bunch of, your characters, and you have NPCs, and the NPCs don't have any real stats, except the real important stuff to this game, which is they have a name, they have a description, they have, as a threat specifically, they have kind of what, I forget what the term is offhand, but basically it's like what they want. So basically when you, and they'll also have, if they have weapons, you'll have weapon damage for them, and that's very simple. So with this web of NPCs and threats and whatnot, I just kind of look at them and say, okay, so this threat, as his goal, he wants to be more powerful. So this character pissed him off last time, or showed something maybe that they shouldn't have that they have, and now this guy wants to get that item to be more powerful. So I'm letting the characters just write themselves, and I'm not preparing a lot. If anything, I'm preparing one NPC or another that is likely to be met, or there's a subplot going on that the characters don't know about, but I'm putting into action that's interacting with all these other things. But I'm never going to actually say, okay, so you just did this, now you've got to do this, or you've got to talk to this person. We want to let things develop, and everyone plays to find out what happens. And during the course of this, I'm going to be asking the players a whole bunch of questions, and in doing so, we're going to together create this world. And say how what there is about it. Do vampires burn in the sun? Does this club or that club let supernaturals in, or that kind of thing? It's all about us creating this world together, which I think is really cool, as opposed to the game master me describing everything and making it my world. You just live in it, type of thing. And that's not how I want it to be, and that's why I like this game and games like it so much. So anyway, getting back to the session intro move. So this basically is created to spark off a bunch of drama. Each character gets a faction spotlighted for them, or let's see, you spotlight your own faction, and you have to say basically how there's something going on that affects you. I'll actually read it. Beginning of every session, choose the player of the character you trust the least to spotlight a faction for your character that isn't already marked, and mark that faction. So for one of every session intro, you get a faction marked automatically, and potentially advanced like from the get-go. Then tell the MC, that's me, the MC and Master of Ceremonies, about a rumor or conflict that you've heard about that faction, building on previous established information or whatever. So basically, this is the player's opportunity to kind of say, "Hey, I really have been interested in having my character do this. So here's this rumor or whatever that's leading in that direction. And now, because you put that in place, I as an MC, I can bring that in and I can bring you to where you want to go." So this is again player control over their fate, that kind of thing. And I don't mean to do all the talking. I said, I want to go through the basics here as we are in session 0 and
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying this is pretty cool. I'm currently writing up like the bio and info. I'm trying to go down the list of what's in Hunter 2. I think it's on the Hunter 2 sheet. So like it's going through and asking for intro, who are you, how long have you been in the city, how did you become a hunter, and then your prey, what did you hunt primarily, what are their strengths and weaknesses, what terrible thing have you done to yourself to help the playing field, and how are you like them. And that's kind of like where I'm at, is right in the middle of that.
Perfect.
One question I have is for the weapons, do we just write those in on the notes, or is there a section in Roll20 that allows us to put specific weapons on the character sheet?
Well, I think if you go all the way to the bottom, you'll see like that would come under gear, or then you also have custom weapons.
Yeah, at least for mine, it's on the bottom right. There's an other section, and then there's gear. And
okay, I got it.
Basically lines.
And you can either add it to other, or in your case, you have a bunch of custom weapons, and I wonder. I'm assuming you can add and then go from there.
Yeah, there's 3 for the hunter, and there's some pretty cool ones, man. It's imaginative, like
bring that up.
Yeah, some of these things like well, I mean, all the typicals. So bow, shotgun, SMG, pistol, rifle. But then like silvered, you can have things that are silvered. You can have things that are cold iron, blessed, antique or ornate. So it's those details that make it just, I think, easy to get into and like immediately make me think, oh yeah, I could have this antique shotgun that my great grandpa gave me, but it somehow shoots silver, and
Yeah, totally. And this is also this is how you make it yours. This is how you tell us what your player likes. If does he have all bladed weapons, or does he have all like distance weapons? This is how you're telling us this is how he likes to hunt.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It kind of it makes it your own, which I really like. I think that's really cool.
I mean, that antique weapon, kind of reminds me of the Winona Earp show.
I watched a few episodes of that.
Descendant of Wyatt Earp, but he had this special gun that was used for killing demons.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I saw a couple of those. And it would only like it like lit up or had runes on it or something weird. Or no, maybe it was the creatures that he shot lit up like that.
Well, no, but like the gun had runes that lit.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Got the demon dissolved.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's kind of, I like it because it helps make it your own, and your weapons are so integral to being a hunter that, of course, you should have that.
Of course, you should have that.
You should absolutely. All right. So, well, I'm just gonna kind of keep going over things just to get the basics out there, and so feel free to interrupt me and let's as you have questions or filling stuff out. And Aaron, we're eventually going to share like those questions with the group, if you will. So that'll look at these. This is information that kind of helps the characters and me build things together.
Oh yeah.
So let's keep that in mind.
Okay.
Let's see here. So every playbook has a corruption move, an intimacy move, and an end move. The corruption move is, again, what kind of brings you closer to that darkness. For the hunter, it's when you injure a mortal while pursuing the supernatural, mark corruption. So again, this is all very much about protecting your own people, or in this case, mortality, that kind of thing. You have your intimacy move. So when you're physically or emotionally intimate with someone, each player character triggers a move. NPCs don't trigger such a thing, but you trigger a move that takes place. And you might, again, if it's two PCs, you're going to each trigger your intimacy move on the other person. Again, I'll use the hunter since I have that up right now. Hunter's intimacy move. When you share a moment of intimacy, physical or emotional, with another person, ask them a question. They must answer it honestly. They will ask you a question in return. Answer it honestly or marked corruption. So again,
Have you ever lost somebody?
yes, I'm playing Urban Shadows, bastard. Yeah. So the kind of, again, these moves like this, in Powered by the Apocalypse, it brings you back to roleplay at all points. So just this intimacy move. Now you've shared something with someone else. That's roleplay in itself, and it's good roleplay. It's very worthwhile. But you just created something new. Now you ask a person a question, they must answer it honestly, and vice versa. And it just, again, these answers kind of build on each other. You're learning about other characters and other NPCs, and your relationships are forming even when you're not actively trying to form them. It's really cool. End move. When characters die, when players die, that's really bad. When characters die, everyone has an end move. The hunters, for example, when you die, retire your character, because you can potentially retire. Choose a character belonging to another player and give them one of your chosen hunter moves. It's there for keeps. So they get a hunter move just for being around when you die and being that one of the characters that they choose. So kind of cool. And other ones are like, put a curse on someone or blow up like a nuclear reactor type of thing. End moves. So neat. Call it neat.
Yeah, the vessel actually leaves a permanent mark on the city
Yeah.
related to one of their instincts.
And
And
that's
that's
truly cool.
when they die or if they change playbooks or retire.
Yep. If they become a real boy. Or if they die, exactly. Very cool. And that's so unique and awesome, I think, as I like this playbook. And in preparation, I did go over the Vessel and Immortal a bit today. I'm not well versed with them.
Reputation. What's the difference between a haft hand weapon and a handle hand weapon?
I think a haft is like an axe haft. I had to guess, and a handle is like a sword handle. That's what that little thing that they're referring to.
Okay.
I think, let me look it up because I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's see. Yeah, so you have your handle is like a sword, haft is like an axe, staff, chain.
Got it.
So basically, you're telling us what kind of weapon it is. Or I suppose haft could also be like a, well, yeah, I suppose, well, yeah, it's more like an axe or a morning star, maybe mace. Then you have your staff, which is also bladed long weapons, but or plain old staff.
Maybe like a warhammer or something. Hold on a second. I'm gonna kill my mic.
Dugges. Okay. All right. Are you coming along there, Steve?
Coming along, I'm just reading the things and going through.
Excellent. Perfect. So why did you go for Vessel, would you say? I know it's new to you, but anything else that kind of inspired you?
I always like the concept of, like the gargoyle type character. This one isn't, but that protector, that guardian
Well, it could be. Like depending on what its instincts are.
That's what I'm going for.
Oh, sure, gotcha. It could, for the record, it could be depending on its instincts.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, this can be a wide variety of things.
Yeah, which is again,
and that's
very cool.
another thing. The instincts are well written to be kind of varied as to purpose.
Yep.
So in Roll20, what function do the tags fields do? So like I'm adding custom weapons and I'm putting in the name description, but then there's this field for tags. Is that for finding by search or does it do something else?
No, good question. I'm going to bring up your enter sheet so I can better answer that. Here. Okay, so tags. So you see, for example, let's look at the shotgun. If you look at your custom weapons from your hunter sheet, shotgun is 2 harm, so it does 2 harm. Close is like within 10 feet. Loud means that like the other stuff kind of gives me stuff to work with. It's loud and it's messy, so I can say like you just blew someone's face off with it. If you rolled a not a miss. I want to keep calling it a miss, but it's a not hit. Do you help me out here?
Technically a miss.
What's that?
It is technically a miss because it's 6 or less.
Is it? Well, yeah. So miss isn't a miss though necessarily. So let's say you blew someone's head off, but you rolled a 3, right? So now I can say, okay, yeah, you that guy definitely has his head blown off, but now, for one, you attracted some nearby security guards who suddenly heard what is quite obviously a freaking shotgun that just went off, and there's this huge mess all around. So there's no like, hey, dudes, I was just taking a little leisurely walk, and oh my god, there's a big guy that's got his head gone and the big blood splatter. Yeah, so basically that
I don't know how that got there.
Exactly. So that changes the fiction. It adds to it. So it's now we can say yes, that it gives me something to play with loud and messy. For reload, it means that's another thing I can kind of visit upon you. It has to be reloaded after its use. So you have to make some time for that kind of thing. Let's see here. What other tags are there? Let's see. So of course the other tags like your cold iron or silver, those kind of tell you how they interact with things. So those become like, to anything that's vulnerable to those things, it either ignores armor, so it's for all intents and purposes it's armor piercing, or it does an extra point of damage or extra point of harm. Let's see here. You're gonna have like, let's see if I can, like if you selected let's see here, a chain. Under hand weapons, your chain is its base. One harm hand area. So it has a range of not far. It affects an area. You can basically, if you go up against 3 different characters potentially, or NPCs potentially, your attack affects them all. That kind of thing. And I don't think chain should be hand. I think that's a little misnomer there. Depending on how, but you get the point. So you have the range tags are intimate, which is like I have to be holding you basically, or in some way in embracing another person to use it. Like a vampire's bite is in range intimate. Then you have near, or I'm sorry, you have hand, which is like, again, right, as far as you can reach plus just a little bit more. So that's why like a sword is handle weapon is hand. I suppose I can see chain because it's not, I'm not talking 10 feet of range here. Then close is around 10 feet. Far is farther than that. And then let's see, what else do you have here? Stuff like valuable for the antique grenade is just, again, giving it it's more for flavor than anything. Let's see here. And like the reputation tag for a famed weapon of some sort. again, that's another thing that gives me something to play with. Like, oh my god, he has a shotgun of Ramadan, whatever, and oh, maybe we should back
Sound
the
like
hell
drunk
off.
history there.
Yeah, he's drunk history. I'll just make
He has a
syllables.
shotgun of Ramadan. Whatever.
I'll just string syllables together till I stop, and that's a word. Oh, good times, good times.
Okay, so I think I've got my weapons. I'm almost done tagging. Too far silenced. Oh, I'm blessed. Ooh, yeah, okay. So then the bladed short sword. So that's +1 harm. So that's 2 harm, and it's holy. Holy
Crap.
short sword. And then so is the blessed silence. So I have essentially a sniper rifle that is holy. It's my holy sniper rifle.
Oh, neat.
Okay. Is the space for notes, hold, or anything else? Class moves, other moves.
Yep. So what you're worried about now is class moves. I think you get 1 or 2 to start.
That's what we got here. I got my gear. Oh, I have to pick a debt yet. Oh, I also have to. Okay. A terrible thing you've done to yourself. That I've got. How are you like them? All right. How am I like them? Let's see here.
What are you looking at there under your
Oh,
moves?
pray. Like the
Oh, you're doing your questions now.
vampires.
Did you pick your 3 hunter moves already?
No. Do I have to do that now? Or
No, you can do whenever.
all right. No, I haven't yet. I'm a stickler for going down the list. Like if it's on the left hand side, I'm going to go down it, and then I'm going to go down the middle.
That's cool. Steve, how are you, sir? You there, Steve? I can't hear you if you're talking.
Sorry, I'm used to my headset. I'm looking at the vessel moves now.
Cool. I'll look along with you if that's all right. Cool. So you have obviously get only flesh to start with,
Right.
which I like a lot. I think it very much speaks to the fact that you're this truly not
Creation.
animate object, really.
Right.
Very neat.
And the challenge is the 2 more. It's been a long time since I played a faceless, and a lot of this is
From
similar.
Apocalypse World, yeah.
From Apocalypse World, right?
Mhm.
And various other games have taken parts of it in the Powered by the Apocalypse sphere.
Yeah, the machinist is directly from one of the other class or the playbooks. I keep saying classes in Apocalypse World.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like the tech dude. I forget what
the Savvy Head.
Yeah, the Savvy Head. That's one of his
I don't
moves.
remember
Communing
being-
with the machine.
So dangerous.
I like
the fail option on it. That the machine somehow betrays you. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Like you're trying to, turn off the alarm system, and of course, that sets off the alarm system.
Screw you.
But I'm also like, okay, you're trying to, get into a computer, and how does it betray you?
Oh, sure.
And again, that's similar, warning system or I don't know, for some reason I just, figure, like, locking all the doors in the room you're in or something, something more nefarious than just sending off the alarm.
Totally. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Gives you equipped and supplied you with 2 deaths.
Yeah, a lot of cool things with the vessel. I like, again, it just plays totally into the like that. I think less Frankenstein's monster and more golem, which I like. A lot of
I did
options
choose
there.
to be made from flesh and bone.
Cool.
Of course, is bones and flesh of the dead is the appropriate wording.
And there, of course, part of that then is you can heal once per session by eating a great deal of that.
Yep, very much like the ghoul in Monster Hearts.
There you go. Or the ghoul in Supernatural, or etc.
And I have a feeling I'm gonna pick a picture of a ghoul from, standard D&D type lore for his quote unquote natural form or true form.
Cool. Yeah, I'm interested in hearing all this. The real fun starts after all the character sheet's done, and we get to share with everyone else, because this is.
Are we going to need to have a 0.5 once the other two show, or do you think they're due?
Here's my thoughts, and I want to bounce it off you guys. The only part I'm hesitant about just doing is debts, because the debts are what tie you guys together, and where you get to kind of exchange stories about how one person is important, or allied or an enemy of the other, that kind of thing.
So we shouldn't choose debts right now?
No, you'll be kind of sharing. Well, not necessarily all of them, but the debts
under
are
the
very
debts
much.
section. It's got, like, for mine, it's got 3 bullet points. Am I supposed to just choose one, or do I have all 3 of those?
Well, as we go, and it's a good question. So basically, and I'm just putting this out there. You can give me your opinion. What I like to do is wait till like the session where we could all be together. And my plan to do is basically do a session 0 just with the other guys on their own, not even on, necessarily on Roll20 or anything, or definitely not being streamed. But do that stuff with them, so basically they can do their character sheets, make their stories, and then next session 1, we can do debts quick, and then get into the not quick, but we can do debts first, and then get into the meat of the beginning of RP. So debts are basically what's going to happen is all of us are going to be together. So there'll be 4 of you guys, and we'll go around the table. We'll do one from each of you at a time. So just for kicks, read off your first one.
My debts?
Yeah, your debts.
The first of my debts says, someone has enlisted you to protect them from something very dangerous. They owe you a debt.
Cool. So what's there is then it's kind of like making a deal with another player. Like, you'll say, "Hey, Steve, I think your vessel, was on the run from something, or maybe your creator was looking for you, and you asked me to help you. Is that cool? You owe me 2 debts, but we can put that, we can create that in the fiction." And then Steve would say, "Oh, that's a great idea," or, "No, you know what? How do I do it like this?" And la la la. So basically, you're creating this story together of how debts were owed and taken, and that kind of thing. And again, that's the start of creating this relationship between you guys and eventually the NPCs.
Right.
So we're gonna
connects the 2 of them, as well as setting up something in the world that's interesting.
Right.
Okay, now I'm being hunted.
Exactly.
Now we have that established.
Exactly. Now we brought that into the fiction, and it's true. So okay, oh wow, he's being hunted, and we can expand on that as time goes. Again, so everything brings something into the story, which is really cool. Again, like Steve quite well said, was, it in addition to what I was saying, how it creates relationships between you guys, it also creates stories that we can work with as we work through this the city and its denizens, and et cetera, et cetera.
And how do you pick up advances again? Is that by getting all the factions, and then you get to...
Yep. So you have faction moves, and you can cash in debts or honor debts. And whenever you do any of those, you mark the faction with which you interacted.
Okay.
So basically, so the idea is like let's say you have mortality marked, and suddenly you do another faction move for mortality. Well, you don't get anything special from that because you can't double mark a slot. It's already been marked. But once you get all 4 of them marked, boom! All of a sudden you advance. You erase those marks for each of the factions and start over again with a fresh new, group of 4 for a pending advance. That type of thing.
Okay.
So basically, you advance by interacting with the other factions in various ways. Again, what's so great about this game is even advancement, everything pushes you towards story. So like if you can be sitting there and it's like, oh wow, I just need to mark wild and I get a faction advance. Well, I need to get this thing this session, and you know what? Maybe I'll use that guy we met a while ago, who this fairy, who was supplying stuff to Steve's character that one session. I'll try to track him down and get this information or this thing from him, and suddenly, boom, you marked wild. So it's pushing you towards story. It's pushing you towards interaction and drama, because these interactions can go good, they can go bad, they can go somewhere in between, but all the outcomes are interesting and add to this. This is one of the reasons I love the Powered by the Apocalypse system so much. It adds so much, and it pushes you to RP, where you have these min maxers and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe they pick the factions that they need to interact with. However, it's forcing these guys to roleplay. And we're in other systems where we're just like, I need to do this, and this to get what I want. I'm going to do this, and this for no reason. But
Yeah.
this is like, yeah, you're going to do this, and this, and it's a
Cast magic missile.
yeah, it's a mechanical effect, but it also
Attack the darkness.
yeah, you're RPing inherit the darkness. Don't we all? Cool.
Yep. So now I'm just reading through hunter moves.
Cool.
Pretty cool stuff in here.
Yep.
Of course, I want to take them all.
I totally understand.
Do you ever get to add moves, or you choose your 3 and that's it?
No, though, if you look under your advances.
Oh yeah, a new hunter move. I see it.
Yep. So,
okay, cool.
So when you at the beginning of play, you see like the left side of advances available in the beginning of play. So those, anytime you advance, you can pick any of those. Once you get 5, you can choose from either list on the left or the right.
Nice.
The right being a little more advanced, a little more, a little more powerful depending on what you're working with.
Yeah, advance 3 basic moves.
Yep. And what that means is, okay, so we already went up over how, like, when you roll, there's several outcomes. There's a miss, which is not a failure necessarily, a partial hit, or so a success, but full success, which is 10 plus. And then you have, when you advance moves, you have the advanced version. So if you get a 12 plus somehow, between your roll and your stat, now you get this awesome thing.
Okay.
So, like, for example, let me bring that up here. New. Here we go. All right, so like for example, Unleash, which is the combat. If you advance it on a plus 12, your target chooses to surrender completely or you incapacitate them. So it's like it's total. You've totally mastered this art. If you have the advanced move and you roll 12 plus, whoever you're fighting is basically going to be at your mercy. And it's kind of funny that the target gets to choose. Do I surrender or does he incapacitate me? Because it's going to be one or the other. There's no getting out of this. Escape on a 12 plus, you get away and make an important discovery. Let's see. Like let it out on a 12 plus. Your powers or abilities manifest in an unexpectedly useful way. Mark corruption to make the manifestation permanent. So cool stuff like that. So this is like the next level. This is like mastery.
That's a fun one for a wizard.
Which one?
When you let it out and you advance it so that you can make it permanent.
Oh.
I think at one point in one of my games, I made like the floor of a building I was putting out a fire. I think I made it permanently fireproof.
Wow.
I mean, it didn't necessarily have anything, ongoing that it was useful for, but it was just the fact of why wouldn't you do it?
Very cool.
All right, so I think for starters, deadly this way.
Let's see here. All right. Steve, what part are you on out of curiosity? I'm kind of following along on your sheet here.
Done.
Done? All right. Well, see here. What did you choose as your class move?
So I have only flesh, which everyone starts with. Sorry, all vessels start with. I took erase the shem, which means that basically he's immortal.
Right. If he can go in
He can basically go inert.
inert.
When he's
Thank you.
taking enough damage. And then machinist, because I have him, living since about 1875. So he was sort of, built when once the Industrial Revolution was, sort of done. So he can commune with the machine, basically getting some info out of it, and occasionally it backfiring.
Gotcha. And kind of cool. It's kind of cool that you bring it up. You kind of frame it like that because it's like, yeah. So like he was around during the Industrial Revolution when machines really became an important part of society and advanced machines. And so he's like the master of machines. He's been around since they were really part of the world, and he's kind of probably followed them up until the point they're computers. He's still kind of an expert with computers, understanding their spirit, if you will, that kind of thing. So that's really cool that you picked that.
Okay, so I think I'm going to go with some basics just to kind of protect myself and the group. So, like, I'm going to take deadly, so inflict harm. When I inflict harm, increase the harm by 1. This way, which can help us get away safely, or it can leave me trapped behind while everybody else gets away safely. I like this description. On a miss, everyone's safe but you. You're left behind, and the way out is closed for you. Or close to you. Go on! Go on without me! Don't worry about me!
Beam falls.
And the last one is prepared for anything. So you have a well-stocked armory full of modern and ancient weapons. Take another custom weapon, or add another add-on to each of your custom weapons.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. For now, this is just as a note for any of those. I ask only that you keep them towards like one vulnerability add-on per piece. It can't be silver and cold iron or silver and blessed.
Aww.
And the reason being is this is if you do want the other stuff, it forces you to interact with people who can make such things, and you can eventually get
like
now
Whistler.
Exactly. Precisely. That's what that whole playbook is about. The veterans shop and stuff.
Garlic, silver nitrate, and white oak.
All in one bullet.
All in one.
Nice. So you get the point, though.
Actually, I think that might have been a Hellboy reference.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, I don't remember white oak specifically, but excellent. Yeah, cool. That's very nice.
+1 harm this way, and plus
Deadly.
get away 7 to 9. 7 to 9 again. Get away but get hurt.
Yep. And you can just copy and paste the whole thing straight from the handout. I think you can do that. I think so. Oh, well, maybe you can't. Sorry.
Maybe if I
lied.
get the PDF, I could do it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I forgot that when I upload the PDFs, it basically transforms it into a picture.
Yeah. Me or them is hurt.
Cool.
Everyone's safe but me. All right. So I think for prepared for anything, I'm just going to take an extra bonus or whatever they call it per weapon.
Oh, that one? Okay. Oh, an extra tag?
Yeah. It is tempting to make sure I have at least a submachine, but, I don't know. Pistol might not be too bad either.
Very cool.
But this will be good.
Yeah, another add-on to each of the custom.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah, we can add big to my big or high powered. Let's add high powered to my rifle. That's a +1 harm.
No, plus that gives you the room in your house that just has like the racks of weapons.
Yeah, let's not forget the cool factor
for everyone else. Cause there's always that point in the story where everyone, regardless of who they are, is like, I need a machine gun.
Very true.
Silenced. High powered sniper rifle. Wow. So that means with my sniper rifle and my other deadly factor, I can do 4 harm with that thing. That's awesome.
Cool. But limited to far, that kind of thing. So it's not going to help you in that firefight that's in the alleyway type of thing.
Yeah.
So kind of keep that in mind. That's that's another use for the tag. So like yours is far. So it's definitely, it can only really be used at that range.
So maybe we'll add high powered to the shotgun too.
Sure. Oh, you're killing me. Oh, that's funny.
And what else?
Also, I also want to bring up, I generally want to be the guy who's the yes and that yes and guy, as opposed to please don't do it that way. When I can, there's going to be some things I'm going to say, hey,
like
I wish
we're
we would do
doing
that way.
improv, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is a lot of improv, truly. But as MC, basically, I want to encourage you to do your cool shit and not get in the way of it as much as possible. It's one of my goals here.
Okay.
So, but every now and then I might have to say that, hey, for the sake of keeping the fiction the way it is and not getting shit totally out of control, let's not do it that way, type of thing. But yeah, just putting it out there.
I don't know if this is in your like session 1 stuff, Scott. Are you going to be doing any sort of lines, veils, coming to like the Gauntlet indie community, or I don't know if you've heard of those
lines and veils? What's that?
There are various basically safety tools just to like
yes,
so people are like, well, let's not really talk about the sex scene, let's just like gloss over that,
Sure, yeah, I know what you're talking
about. I've played in games where people have specific issues with either abuse or death, that some things or types of death that you don't address those, so that's like a line where people don't cross.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a session 1 thing. And I think we did something very much, we did like the X card and whatnot in Dune. One of our lines was no violence to children, for example.
Okay.
But yeah, we could definitely do that. I want to make this a creative, collaborative, fun, and slightly stressful environment because of all the awesome drama. But I don't want to go over a line where someone feels uncomfortable to the point where this is, maybe this is a bad idea to play this game with these people. I definitely don't want to bring that upon us. So yeah, yes, we'll definitely go through that kind of thing when everyone's together. Good question.
Okay, so now my blessed bladed short sword has a reputation. It is now called Hole, the famed blessed short sword.
Hole? Like
Hole, like as in it makes a hole.
Capital H, okay.
Yeah, capital H.
Excellent. I'm assuming it's a stabby as opposed to a slashy.
Well, it's a short sword, so it's both.
Yes. Oh, Steve, I should probably bring up the fact that Aaron has done like real, honest to goodness sword fighting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like Arma trained with like real steel.
Nice. It was good. It was
and
a good
sharps.
time.
You did sharps, right? Sharp swords.
I did what they call feather blade. So I mean, we never fought with actual sharp weapons, but we did fight with steel.
Right, but in Arma you can do sharps, as they call it.
Yeah,
at the highest levels.
Yeah, you could. I guess you could. We never got there. As far as I've seen, they've only ever used sharps for cut tests. I've never actually seen them do any kind of contest combat using sharps. I think that just would be too crazy.
Come on!
I mean, so this is the thing I don't understand yet about sword fighting, and I guess I never will since I don't do it anymore. But apparently, with very little torque, you can just take someone's leg off. Like if you manage to actually hit their leg with just your general swing, you can really cut right through them. So I don't know. I think that's why they don't do sharps.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the cool parts was what they learned from ancient fighting texts that had been recovered by historians, and
there's this
translated them and whatnot, and
the various longsword texts.
Yep, exactly.
Yep,
I've done some stuff with SCA, so I've beaten people with sticks.
Okay, yeah,
but never.
Haven't we all, Steve? Haven't we all beaten people with sticks?
I mean, when we were kids, it always used to be, plastic, erector set, pieces. But
for me, it was always those green garden fence things that had the little chevrons on them. For gardening, you could use it to put up a fence. That and a trash can lid. My little kid weapons.
There you go.
All right, so I've picked my weapons. I've picked my class abilities. What else do I need to do? Drama moves are just stuff I can do, right?
Let's see. Yeah, drama moves are already. You don't choose those. Those are standard for your playbook.
Yep. Okay. And then eventually I can pick some corruption moves.
When you start getting corruption and you hit your 5 mark, then you just like your other advances, when you erase them, start at 0 and then you gain a corruption move. But for now, you don't have any corruption moves.
Okay.
Dr. Arcular, you only imagine beating people with sticks? Is it imagined, or are you talking like a fantasy of being able to beat the crap out of people with sticks? Because I've had both. I'd love to beat the shit out of people with sticks every now and then. But there's that whole adult not going to jail thing. But But and you know and on top of that, I realize it's wrong. At the bottom line, it's wrong to beat people with sticks, unless they're Nazi. I'm sorry, did I say that? Whatever. But yeah, no. Nope, I got my kitty.
You did open it up for us to be punching Nazis in this game.
Yes, I actually that's one thing I have to clarify. So one of the backgrounds of New Midian is that as we all know, anyone with any passing understanding of history knows that the Nazis were big into the supernatural. They really did hunt down like supernatural relics and stuff like that. They had like a group that was made to do that. If I recall correctly, I can't remember what they were called, but anyway. So at some point when they invaded Poland, they encountered the Midian that was in Poland at the time and found all these supernaturals and used them as experiments and whatnot. And then found relics and things of real power and people of real power. I got a cat all playing over me. And when all the Midianites fled after the war, or during the invasion, I should say, and after the war, etc., and eventually came to New Midian, the remnants of the Reich also followed. And to this day, every now and then some kind of weird-ass supernatural Nazi plot pops up. So yes, at some point or another, you may be punching and or murdering a Nazi. I don't know. But I hope everyone's okay with killing fictional Nazis.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Especially if they've actually done something, If all they did was just become Pope, well, then I'm probably not.
Oh, there's not this Pope, the last one. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Arcular Gladiator Girl. You certainly absolutely did imagine beating the shit out of people with sticks and then some. It was a good read.
I felt a lot of Gladiator Girl in the latest the Alita movie, the Battle Angel movie.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet, but want to very badly.
It felt very much like Gladiator Girl come to life.
Yes. Steve, for your benefit, our friend Dr. Arculari wrote a book called Gladiator Girl, which was, I forget how it was described. It was a very awesome description. A romantic sports fantasy novel. I forget, but it was pretty awesome.
Cool.
But anyway, he wrote this book, Gladiator Girl, which involved blood sports with women. Specifically and I won't give away any of the plot, even though it's pretty much given away in the very first chapter, but there's a reason that only women participate in the blood sports in this book, which is pretty awesome. So now you see the reference, Steve.
I see a reference.
That is fair.
I'll let it go with that.
There you go.
As long as it's better than the Blood Bowl novels.
I have not read the Blood Bowl novels. I'm going to assume it is way better. Way better than Blood Bowls.
Good.
Yes, an alternate reality action sports love story. That is the most awesome book tag ever. Got to say. And it's all those. I'm not going to go too far off on Gladiator Girl here, but yes, it is all those things.
So I think I've taken my guy as far as he can go right now.
He's basically statted up right now?
Yep.
Perfect.
He's got everything.
Cool. How about you, Steve? Steve, you bet done, haven't you, Steve?
Yeah, I am set, I think.
Cool. So let's do this. It kills me that the guys aren't here. I'm going to just make them watch this episode to catch them up. But would you guys mind introducing your characters? I want to learn more about them. I want to hear the cool ass stuff about them. And then, what do you call it? Next session, I'll have already taken care of the other guys. I'll have them do an introduction like I'm having you guys do. We'll do debts and then get into the actual game, if that works for you guys.
I don't remember with this one. Is there any city creation stuff? Thinking of Fate, Dresden Files.
Possibly. There is. We can definitely, if your story involves something in New Midian, we can absolutely, call that city creation where we brought it in. It's not part of the fiction, that type of thing. And that's kind of what I intended to happen. Again, if you've been to a place or remember a place or this thing happened at a place in New Midian, that definitely becomes part of our world and our city building. Kitty, you can't love on the microphone. I'm sorry. Roxy Boxy. Yeah, I know. She just wants to love everything, don't you? But you're going to get your belly scratched. I'm going to put you down, baby. So, Steve, would you mind starting us out?
Sure. I'm playing Adrian, the vessel. He was a created warrior meant to protect and serve the Council of Wizards in the Midian of Romania in late 1900s. He's been alive since 1865. He basically forsake his bondage because the wizards proved that they were incapable of being anything other than selfish, power-hungry individuals. Because while he was meant to, protect them and, theoretically protect the city, as they were fighting amongst themselves and not spending the time creating more warriors, the city was overtaken. What keeps me here in this city? I may have forsaken my creators, but I've not forsaken the mission of protecting the city. So that's one of my instincts, which I should probably talk about, because I have instincts.
Sure.
The instincts I have are to serve the powerful, to protect the valuable, to hunt the disloyal, and to break the defiant.
Nice.
So I'm sure that won't get me in trouble with any of the other
Funny.
As I mentioned briefly before, he is made of flesh and bone. So he can consume a large quantity of that to regenerate himself a bit. His natural form is pretty much what you would consider a standard ghoul. So, big teeth and, claws and, generally an unhappy disposition.
But made up of parts of humans?
Correct. However, I don't know if you plan on creating tokens on the board, Scott.
Probably not.
But I did upload a photo for him.
Oh, nice.
Just, some random Croatian actor guy.
Cool. I can definitely flash that up. It's sometime or other.
I took, so his class moves are only flesh. Erase the Shem, which allows him to be fairly immortal. And Machinist, because he was created at a time where, that was all the rage. And while he may have been created using, the necromantic arts, obviously the wizards still needed someone to take care of things for them. Gear, he has a small apartment in the slums, a crappy car, and a dumb phone.
Excellent.
His clumsy blunt weapon is a cast iron balustrade from, a railing. Very heavy, very, probably meant to, it was probably in a situation where it could have been made out of, stone or marble, and, the wizards just made it out of iron because they probably had issues with Fae.
Oh, neat. So it's not actually a found weapon. It's actually something they created?
Well, I mean, it was actually a balustrade, a railing, vertical piece. It just happens that when I left Romania, I took it with me.
Nice. Cool.
And probably used it, as defense on the way out.
Sure.
I have a keepsake from my creator, which is a medallion of, moving gears, signifying, my relationship is basically no better than a machine. But I'm sure they had, I'm sure that's exactly what they meant when they gave it to him.
Oh,
And I
wow.
also have a token of my bondage, which is tattoos covering, most of my body, sort of binding it together.
Cool. Very cool. Oh, that's kind of, I can all, you know what, I mean, I can almost imagine, like, you have, like, here's where the arm got cut off, here's where you have, like, this one person's arm and this is the other, and then these tattoos go over it, kind of unifying it, the
Right.
fact that they're
Yeah,
over.
not quite like the Stitch motif, like you might see in like a Frankenstein monster, but it's meant to, I guess bind the parts together, but also to obscure them.
Gotcha. But yeah, like I said, it's like kind of like it joins it together, if you will, makes it one. That's cool.
And I think those are all the individual pieces.
Cool. Well, I'm going to ask you a few more questions. So, what what's like his biggest fear? What is he most afraid of? Why did he, why does he, what does he avoid if he can, that kind of thing? What
What
is
does
he
he
afraid of?
avoid? Fire has always been something that, um, not in the Frankenstein sense that it's, like scary, but fire consumes. And, fire, I think, is one of the things that would, certainly cause him a heck of a long time to regenerate.
Okay.
Uh,
Do you think we could use that as a vulnerability for him?
sure.
Like, what do you think? I'll ask you. What do you think is more appropriate? The way, I want to hear how you're envisioning it, because we can.
I
Cause we got,
almost envisioned it in terms of like the old vampire, White Wolf, where the vampires see fire, it's a flight response.
right. What I was getting at was like, there's two ways we can make a vulnerability in this game. One is it's either A, armor piercing, so
Mm-hmm.
it ignores all armor, or B, it it does one more damage to you than it does anyone else. So which do you? I want to ask
I would say
you,
to make it
which do you say is more appropriate?
matter more, I would say armor piercing, because he already gets armor pretty easily if he, just rushes into, rushes someone, with a flamethrower, or something, he already has armor for that. So I would rather it be armor piercing to be something that it's not something I want to do, or be around.
Sure, it gives you a reason not to charge the dude with the flamethrower and the
Right.
napalm. Gotcha. That's awesome. Okay, all right, we'll do it that way. And we've just created part of the fiction, and we're gonna that may or may not be the same vulnerability for others. I suppose it would maybe be different for rock. I don't know. Maybe that'd be the same thing. The heat and then cooling would crack the rock, that type of thing. Another uh,
Yeah,
vessel
another
made
vessel.
of rock or marble or something like that. But
Yeah, I would imagine they each have their own weakness.
gotcha. Yeah. So
But for, like if I am made of, flesh and bones of the dead, those are things that, I mean, fire is always one of those things that does completely, incinerate those and turn them to ash.
cool. So I just want to point out to the viewers, etc., that we just created fiction here. We created what's what, and we're going to do that with every group. Again, we're going to make our own folklore here, if you will. So that's really cool. Another thing, does Adrian is one of his dreams to be a real boy, if you will? Or does he care about that kind of thing?
I think he grows tired of his current role, certainly. He is definitely a slave to his instincts.
Well, yeah, as all
So
vessels are, because yeah,
as all
that's
vessels are,
your
and
programming. It's hard to go against your programming.
he would definitely do a lot to break out of that. And if that meant becoming mortal, he would consider it.
Cool. Excellent. All right, let's go to Eugene. I know you wrote out all your answers to your questions and whatnot. Why don't you share them with us?
Sure. All right. So Eugene Banks, he's a former stunt car driver, and he used to travel the world. And in Eugene's last job, it ended in a terrible fall off a cliff. He was brought back in a mystic temple of the hidden valley that he fell into. He learned of a dark world that threatened his family and friends, and he took a vow of the Maktuyo. And so that makes him an ancient hunter, or makes him a hunter of an ancient hunter clan, and that's the clan that revived him. And now he travels to his hometown of Midian to protect the ones he loves.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like the different background. It's not, he doesn't make him supernatural. I mean, yes, being brought back from the dead, or interesting, or maybe was he brought back from the dead? I mean, that's just what they told him.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, there's more. Tell me more. Please go. Go.
All right. Eugene primarily hunts demonic creatures, vampires, and sentient undead. He preys upon their weaknesses, things like true names for demons, fire for vampires or undead, or just the dependencies on others, like whittling away, the control that vampires have over others.
Very cool.
So
he's kind of like a long-term hunter. He'll pick a target and then pick away all the creature's armor, be that social or physical, and before he goes in for the kill, where by that time the person's like begging for death or completely at his mercy at that point.
If that's where the creature's biggest base of power is, yes. But if it was, like if it's a single demon and I just need to go do research, figure out his true name to get him, weaker, then I would do that. So.
Gotcha. But you're not just a see it, kill it type of guy. You're more the see it, research it, kill it type of guy.
Yeah. I mean, unless I get cornered, I'm still going to kill.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just looking for a generalization of his method to his madness.
Excuse me while I go do research.
One moment, please.
One moment. All right. Eugene is keen to their powers, things like dark magic of the demons, superhuman traits of vampires, general immortality of the undead. And so to even the playing field, Eugene had his skin repaired from the accident with a mystic creature that's able to simulate his original look, but it makes him deadly, which plays into my class skill of deadly. It gives me my +1 harm. And so, like the blood-sucking vampires that he hunts, this skin creature sometimes gives away his corruption. Like, in the right light, people can tell he's off.
Interesting. Yeah, we can definitely go with that. Again, we want to keep the hunter away from being a supernatural entity, but
yeah,
we can definitely work with this. Just kind of keep that in mind. We want to keep him mortal.
He's all biological.
Gotcha.
And it's not like this makes him like into a shapeshifter or anything like that. It's just an oddity,
That's cool. Yeah, we can definitely treat it like that.
That works. And it just plays into why he is deadly. What gives him the +1 harm that nobody else has.
Gotcha. Cool. I can go with that.
I was going to put a dead on here, but since we're
not doing that.
Yeah. So as far as like what else makes up Eugene? Let's see. So yeah, he has this deadly class move. The second one is the this way move, so he can lead people away to safety.
Gotcha. That's cool.
It's pretty important to him. I mean, it's part of why he originally took this vow. It's to protect his family and his loved ones. And then prepared for anything. So like Steve mentioned, the super cool weapons rack and the, cases of things behind the wall. And,
Right.
Is that a hand grenade? Maybe.
Is that a hand grenade made of the skull of a demon? No.
As far as other like gear, he's got a shitty apartment. He drives a black and yellow Shelby Mustang, and
Nice.
he's got a cell phone. He tends to wear dark clothing. Oh, he's Asian, and custom weapons. So he's got this antique silvered high power shotgun. Keeps it close, and then when he needs to, he's got the sniper rifle, which is blessed, and then the famed short sword called Hole, which is also a blessed weapon.
Nice. Cool.
So yeah,
how did he get whole?
How did he get Hole? That's a good question.
That's a pun, really, or a double entendre. But let's go with the way we actually meant, which how to get the.
How do I get Hole? You don't.
Enlightenment.
Yeah, how did he get Hole? That's a good question. I would say, probably something that he earned from the Maktuyo clan during his training, learning how to be a hunter. It was the final moment, kind of like when what's her name, Beatrix Kiddo gets the Hattori Hanzo sword from Hattori Hanzo himself in Kill Bill.
Oh, right.
Kind of like that final moment of like, okay, now go and kill.
Right.
So yeah, that was a gift of the Maktuyo clan.
That's cool. Now, I do notice that the other weapons are very much firearms. How did he learn to use these? That that kind of thing.
Yeah. Again, I think part of the training, like the whole thing was, the clan finds me pretty much dead, manages to bring me back to life, tells me about this world of darkness that's out there. And I'm like, I got to do something about that. I've got family, and specifically, of course, they're planting little seeds about what New Midian really is.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I may not have really known about before this point.
Cool.
And so then, as part of the training, that's what they do. They produce hunters.
Oh,
so,
I see. Okay, I got the feeling that it was more like a non-advanced tribe that you ran into that showed you how to use a sword, but that kind of thing. Okay, cool. So they're more like the Batman Begins. Those guys.
Yeah.
But for hunters. Okay, cool. Now, one caveat I want to put on is, again, part of the game is about the relationships and stuff. So this game will actually take place, like, let's say you've been back from being away and being trained for like 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
That gives you time to kind of get in here. Now that you have an idea of that other supernatural world that's out there, now you start forming relationships and getting to know people. And, oh, yeah, that guy at the corner store who always gave me the little extra bit of gum as a kid. Yeah, he was a vampire.
was
there. Was that kind of thing. So, yeah, just want to put it out there that, yeah, we want to make sure that he's in his background. It includes him having been here for a while and understanding what's around him, generally speaking.
So I would imagine then, too, I've kind of secured my parents, my sisters, like, to the best of my ability.
Oh, my sweet summer child. I'm gonna contain this guffaw of laughter within me, and it hurts a little bit. Actually, it hurts like right here.
They're perfectly safe now.
Yeah, nothing that can ever touch them. No, you're good, dude. You're good. You're fine. No problem. So yeah, good times are we had by all. Awesome. So
so I do have a question related to your weapons.
Yeah.
Who was it that blessed the sniper rifle? Was it also the same group, or was it someone else in the city?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, and again, what I want to kind of point out, like what Steve's doing. I want you guys to feel comfortable talking to each other, asking questions about each other. Not necessarily to, not. I mean, like this, for example, isn't in-game knowledge. What Steve is doing is he's trying to help you build a story around this. So when you want to ask a question that could make something cooler, or add a story, or make some drama,
Sure.
or if you want to, hey, you know what? This would be really cool if it was like this, or I bet when you shoot the gun, it actually the sigils on it start to glow, or that kind of thing, or etc. Don't be shy about reaching out like that to other characters. So I apologize for interrupting you there, Steve, but
No, it's fine.
No.
so I want to kind of point that out.
Okay. I think this would have come from my first demonic fight, and working with a Hebrew, a mage. He blessed my weapon to be able to kill the demon. So
Nice. Very cool. Now, let's see here.
See, now that's also someone you can like immediately pull out if you want to hit the streets with power.
Exactly.
You've now established a Hebrew mage as one of your NPCs.
Yep, we just have to name them and send you out there. So that's cool. And again, we just created. We're creating fiction now. We don't have a name for this guy yet, and I don't want to give him a name quite yet because we're not. I want to do it when we're kind of in the thick of it, when we're actually in the game. I want to create these names, but just keep that in mind. Like, yeah, you just created this one question from one player to another about a weapon that really is just a stat on a sheet. Just created potentially another NPC you're going to get involved with in a relationship. And it's, again, I love that about this system. I think, Aaron, when you and I when we were playing like the Firefly, that's one of the things that brought me to Cortex Plus and Cortex Prime in the future, is the whole, creating story out of things, making the world together. And this is just part of that. That's really just cool for me. So good on y'all. Trying to think of anything else to go over. We might end this a bit short. This is, again, 3 hours is good for a episode 0 of a 4-person 4-character game. 2, not so much. I'm dying here. So hopefully, I'm going to catch up with the other guys, and I'm going to make them do character sheets and kind of get them through the basics here, and then link up the next time and get things together. But yeah, so it's like, it's killing me that they aren't here. I think they'd be having a really awesome time, but they have adult lives. We all are 9-to-5ers, sadly. I know about Steve. I don't know. I try not to ask Steve what he does, but I'm assuming he has a solid 9-to-5, and
at least 9 to 5.
At least 9 to 5. And families. I think we're all, except for Zachary, we're all married, and we have, bills to pay. So I get it. I just want to put it out there. Please, 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 if you can be here, be here. We do have 4 players, so generally speaking, I mean, we can play with as little as 2 per session, but I would love to keep integrating everyone. So if you can be here, please be here. I'm going to have a talk with the other guys, just make sure they understand that too, and just kind of work with it. I know that, again, everybody has their lives and everybody has their stuff going, but let's try to prioritize if we can. I know I will. I'm on call tonight at my work.
Like now?
Yeah, like right now I'm on call, so I'm on the primary. So if a call came in, I would have had to answer it. But luckily, I've got not a single page at all. So I lucked out. Are you
going to be on call every Thursday night?
No, it's once. I'm on call once every 5 weeks for a week, and we alternate primary, secondary. So right now I'm primary, so if a call came in, I would be having to take it if I could handle it. And then, like, if I was otherwise encumbered, then the other guy would take it. So next week, or not next week, but next time, 5 weeks from now, I'll be on call for the week, but I'll be the secondary. So the other guy will be like, if a call comes in, he has to take it first, and then if he's otherwise encumbered, then that's when I step in and do it. that kind of
Nice.
thing. So I lucked out tonight. So that's awesome. I
So,
was slightly
question:
worried.
How did you guys meet? You and Steve and Scott.
Well, let's
Well,
Steve tell the
random
story.
post by Scott on one of the Cortex G Plus communities, and he was saying, talking about, maybe doing Dune in it, and I'm like, well, sign me up. And
Nice.
he actually did.
Yeah, I kind of did my own hack of using Cortex Plus. I did my own hack of Dune, and I just remember he put it out there. So, like again, as Aaron knows, if you invite me over, odds are freaking good I'm going to show up. So just like with Steve, he offered. He's like, hey, I'm interested in this. If you're putting it together, so I just remember that and brought him in the game. And next thing you know, we just finished our 2-year-long Dune campaign.
Oh wow!
2 years of Dune.
And we got to play Mass together once.
And we got to play Mass together once. When I missed Lloyd and for life I can't remember their guy's name. James, both awesome dudes. So,
What's Mask?
It's a Powered by the Apocalypse game. I'm going to be running that on Sundays. Starting
oh
on
wait,
the 3rd.
that's the game you were running the other day
At the con.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So teen superheroes.
Yeah.
Also a very awesome game, which Steve will be playing in because I caught him between role-playing game cycles, I think. Where he's a little more available.
Yeah, I mean, this one's taking up the Dune slot, so.
Yeah. So a thing I'll share about Steve, I don't think he'll be too embarrassed, is that he plays more role-playing games than you and I put together could ever hope to.
Awesome.
His
you got a good life, man.
Yeah, his spouse lets him do whatever.
A bunch of bi-weekly games, so but if the group doesn't show, or someone in the group doesn't show, we don't play. So
right,
a lot of the times I just have a normal game load.
Gotcha. The normal game load,
but it's still an envious game load, I must say.
Yeah,
and a nice variety too. I mean, it's like Monster of the Week here, Masks there.
So Monster of the Week, which was centered around killing the Masters of Midian, coincidentally, is done.
No relation.
It's going to be replaced by Sword, Crown, and the Unspeakable Power, which is Game of Thrones powered by the Apocalypse. Basically,
is there an incest role? I'm not sure.
I don't think there's any specific role for that. But go behind one of those veils and just like no. I guess that'd be a lie.
Ixnay on the incest A.
Ixnay on the incest A, yeah. Ars Magica, but that's on hiatus due to the GM having a daughter recently.
Oh, wow.
And then powered by an actual Apocalypse World game.
Where it's the Apocalypse.
And I think that's...
okay.
And aside from now this Urban Shadows and Mass, I think that's it.
Nice.
Nope. I have another game that's on Sunday mornings that's Smallville. So Cortex Plus. But it's more of a drama game, and we're actually setting it in basically Waterdeep.
Wow.
Neat.
That's a lot to keep straight.
Very, very, very only sort of Forgotten Realms inspired.
Gotcha. Dr. Oculary from chat came in late. Is New Midian some sort of hidden mystical city, or is it Gothamish? I say it's basically so. I'll put a document out there eventually for you guys. But New Midian, as I was playing to these guys, it's basically Midian is the place where the monsters lived. Started in Iraq way back when, and then Romania, and then Poland, and the Nazi invasion happened, and then eventually moved to an ambiguous place on the east coast of the United States. It's a place where monsters of various types know they can come to find sanctuary. Theoretically, that's the dream. So you basically have this city that's infested in various forms with supernatural. It's obviously way more mortals and the people who don't even know this exists. However, there's a good density of supernaturals because this is kind of a theoretical safe area, or safer. So it's not hidden. I would call it more Gothamish in that it is urban shadows. This is, it has its good neighborhoods, it has its bad, it has its, small families and large, and rich people, poor people, everything. Yeah, I would say more Gothamish, but with vampires. Pardon me. And also for my players here, I'm going to be watching the chat. I'm going to try not to let it interfere with our games so much. But when we have a break in the action or something, or if you guys need a second, or if you're looking something up, I'm going to do my best to interact with the viewers. Since that's part of my whole shtick, what I'm trying to put out there is, viewer interaction also. So every now and then, even though you guys can't necessarily see it because you're not watching the stream, I'll be checking out chat and answering questions, interacting, making comments, taking their comments, inviting them to kind of add to the story too, and help create the fiction, which is a kind of a unique thing for even Powered by the Apocalypse players to have this third party of chat to kind of point stuff out, help create fiction and that kind of good stuff.
Is there like a Twitch category collection for either Powered by the Apocalypse or Urban Shadows itself that other people are doing? Like,
the only category is the Roll20.
oh, okay.
Basically, like this, if you look at my stream right now, the category is Roll20 virtual tabletop. There are some do have their own thing, like Dungeons and Dragons is its own thing. Dungeon World, which is actually a Powered by the Apocalypse version of Dungeons and Dragons, basically has its own. It's the most popular. Well, it's a popular one. I wouldn't call it the most popular. Um, but for as far as Twitch is concerned, this is a Roll20 virtual tabletop game.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just thinking it might be cool to have some way to be able to, like if I'm interested in Urban Shadows and I Google it, and then I can see, a list of Urban Shadows Twitch feeds. That would be.
Gotcha. Well, you can do that. I mean, a lot of Twitch streamers also pop their stuff on YouTube. I will be putting this on YouTube.
Okay.
So that that's a good place to look. Also, there's a great it's finished, but there's a great I don't think it was even streamed on Twitch, but they recorded specifically for YouTube. It was, if you look up Urban Shadows and Friends Like These. That's an awesome Urban Shadows show, and the format is basically the camera is looking over a gaming table. One a guy on the right and the left, and the MC, the game master, at the far side, just kind of rolling dice and checking over sheets, writing down their little logbooks and stuff as they go RPing through Urban Shadows. So yeah, definitely got Friends Like These, Urban Shadows, and you won't be disappointed in that content. They're a pretty awesome show, and they like this, like my channel will be they go to other games and whatnot. They did like the most recent Star Wars game. They did a hint of that and other stuff, but definitely search on YouTube.
Okay.
Cool. I think we're winding down again. This 3 hours is great for all these people to get their stuff done. Little short on material for just the two guys, even as interesting as your stuff was, which I enjoyed greatly. And again, I'm going to force other guys to watch, so they get to watch the fun without being able to participate. Sadly, because I think they both have a lot to add to your stuff, but they're going to do that next game.
We could text them right now and read their excuses online.
My cruelty knows bounds.
If you do get together and create characters with them, if there's any way you can share that with us on Discord,
sure.
So we have a little bit of an idea before going in, because they're gonna have had a chance to watch ours. That way we can start thinking about our deaths.
Oh, sure. You know what? Let's do this.
I mean, you can make those character sheets available to everyone too.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do. Okay. Let's see. So let's see. Eugene. So I already have it in Aaron's.
On them that everyone shouldn't be able to see.
Yep. Cool. All right. So Eugene Banks is now in all player journals. I'm gonna do the same for Adrian. changes. So now, Aaron, you should see Adrian up there somewhere.
I see it.
Cool, and you should be able to open it and look at it.
Picture. Cool. Yeah, I can't edit it. I just see bio and info. The other two tabs are hidden.
Oh, the actual character sheet.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, let's see if I can change it. Let's see. Oh, it can be edited and controlled by. That's maybe it for this.
Dang, now I gotta go get a picture.
Yep.
That's
Now I
awesome.
can see the tabs.
Okay, I'm going to do the same to Adrian's. All right. Now, can
There
you
we go.
Okay.
Yep.
So just to be aware, I basically to get you to allow you to be able to do that, I had to set it to all players can control and edit. So just obviously don't make any changes to their, watch where you're clicking when you're in someone else's sheet, because you will change it, erase it, make different selections, etc., etc. So just be aware of that. But that'll allow you to kind of see things, and this is one of those games where there shouldn't be this is not a game where you have like ninja notes where you're making secret plans that you're passing to me or to one other person. This is a game where you want all the stuff to be on the table. I mean, we know how to keep player knowledge and OOC knowledge, and just knowing this gives you hooks to get in. Like, oh, I remember him. He talked about this. So could that person that he was fighting with, could that be my buddy? That'd make it cool. So again, we don't want to really keep any secrets. The only secrets I'm going to keep from you is the stuff that I'm going to be introducing. Like, so like in my planning sessions, I'm going to say, okay, well, it looks like this group, you've pissed them off enough and their motivation is revenge, that they're probably going to attack you or try to attack you sometime this session. That kind of thing. But otherwise, my goal is not to keep secrets. We can put this out in the open, and I think it's more fun that way, because you do get to kind of sink your hooks into all the story, etc., etc. And and whereas surprises are great, you're hiding all this awesome material from everyone else where they could be building on it. And again, this is definitely a different paradigm than we're used to coming from other games. So it's rambling on there for a little bit. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
Cool. All right. Do you guys have anything else, or are we gonna hit it for now?
I think we're good.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys are amazing today. Thank you so much for just being here. But on top of all that, you guys are awesome. I'm glad, Aaron, that this is your first time really truly playing the game, where we're actually getting into character setup. Because when we did it at the con, because I had 4 hours to do everything with the guys, it's pretty much make a character sheet, give us their basic story, and let's play. So this is the first time you actually get to truly develop that character, and again, mesh with the other characters, with your story, with the fiction that we're creating. So, and you're doing really well. So good job.
Right on.
And Steve, as I've also done at the con, there was one guy who played stuff and was really an expert. So I may rely on you to kind of be my little helper every now and then, to kind of maybe even prod the other characters into sharing some of their own story, making something new, that kind of thing. You're probably the most expert of all of us on the Power by the Apocalypse system by far.
Well,
so
I tend to also not have a problem, if I see someone who's, sort of hanging back, or not engaging, to, try and bring them along.
Yep.
Right. And yeah. And this system is
Urban Shadows can be everyone going off in different directions, but it's good to sort of share a little bit,
Yeah, it's best when you're together.
Right.
Cool. Excellent. And one other thing I just want to bring up, one of my own pet peeves is, when you're in a session and you show up for the session and then you contribute 2 sentences, and then that's pretty much all you've contributed for your entire session of 3 or 4 hours. And my goal is to kind of keep it going. I don't want anyone to leave one of my sessions thinking they didn't get a good part, something good out of it, or didn't get to participate. So if you see me leaving someone behind, or when I could be bringing them up with everyone else, sure, let me know, or bring them in on your own, with the fiction, or whatever. But one of my goals is to make sure that everyone feels like they contributed well to a session, like they didn't get ignored, that they got to make something happen, that kind of thing. Like just like they're not sitting there, they're not a seat warmer in this game. They're an active player, which is what I'm hoping for. So.
Cool.
All right. On that note, while I let you guys go, it's 9:30. We're almost up to the 10 o'clock, but again, 2 characters. What are you gonna do? Mark and Zachary. Ugh. Dying a little inside. Anyway,
you could play cartoons till 10 or something.
I could do a karaoke thing till 10, but
Yeah, you could do karaoke.
But nobody wants that. I don't hate anyone that much to really.
Oh, I want karaoke, dude.
Oh,
I want to hear your karaoke.
I need more beer than zero. The zero I've drank tonight. So.
Right. Okay.
All right. So I will bid you guys a farewell. I'm going to end the stream. For our viewers, Doctor, and anyone else, I hope you got something out of this and had some fun. Be here next time. Starting on the 3rd of March on Sundays, same bat time, same 7 to 10. I'm going to be doing Masks, Young Heroes, Powered by the Apocalypse. And then Tuesdays, 8 to 9, I'm doing game prep for both of those. My plan is to eventually, I'm committing to 10 sessions after session 0, 10 real sessions of each. More if the game is just so awesome we don't want to stop. But theoretically, when one of those ends, that's going to be replaced by a talk show. Mark, Aaron, and I were talking about doing a talk show a while back. I want to see if we can bring that to fruition. So that's one of my goals. And then the other one, as it ends, will be replaced by another game. I'm looking towards maybe Monster of the Week or something like that, or maybe Apocalypse World or something. But anyway, so that's the plan. So my stuff, my schedule is on Twitch, my Twitch page. Better if you follow me on Twitter or if you join my Discord server. Those links for those both are both on my Twitch page. And that way I can inform you as to schedule changes, what's going on, what to look forward to, little other tidbits, and otherwise interact. So, there's my spiel, and I will end the stream now. Hope everybody has a great night. Tomorrow's Friday. Thank freaking goodness. All right, and with that, I end the stream, and I bid you a fond farewell.
Okay. Night all.